the games that's being played, like I said before, man, they told you what the blueprint was going to be.
Yeah.
You know, we can talk about Project 2025, but I can honestly tell you they've gone way beyond the Project 2025 when they're doing all these things that they're doing. You know, these tariffs, you know, now they're going after Apple.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm pretty sure what's going to happen is Apple's going to probably, because Apple's in China, they're probably going to leave China and go to Taiwan.
Yeah.
Okay, so once they go to Taiwan and start building what they're needing, and I doubt if anything's going to change by moving it to Taiwan. But,
nobody gonna be able to touch them.
Well,
The
you know,
the company gonna grow.
you know, they want to put all these tariffs on everybody, on all these companies to bring them back to the United States.
And it's not.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, you're talking about
That ain't gonna happen, Mike.
You're talking about you know, I think that they have like $3 billion in saved money as far as Apple, right? But they bring those factories and those resources back to the United States. Their profits are going to shrink. See right now because we're not working for pennies.
I don't think Apple will ever come back to the United States.
And that's why they're going to Taiwan.
Because of a lack of people trained to do these skills jobs, and that's the problem. And because it costs more here, where it's less for them over there.
Pennies.
Okay, so I think, listen, y'all, that terrorist stuff Trump got, it's real stupid. It makes no sense.
Well, that's just like when Ronald Reagan did the interest rate.
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan, he raised the interest rate almost 30%.
Yeah.
And that's was just as bad as the terrorists.
Yeah,
you know?
the tariffs.
Yeah, the terrorists. You know, so all these things that's going on right now is called dictatorship.
Yeah.
You know, get your dictionary out. Get Google. Ask
Siri,
what dictatorship is.
And education understand. But what is hard, it's hard to get those of us that don't have an education to understand.
Okay, we got a call coming in. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the Community Matters Show.
Good morning, Brother Wallace, and good morning to Brother Mike and Brother Oscar. And I want to briefly touch on, since you guys brought up the national issue right now, that something that is very troubling. You know, Brother Wallace, as an activist for so many years, and on you being on different platforms, the concern is what the Trump administration has done when it comes to police accountability. As you know, he signed an executive order and pushed the Justice Department to do away with all the consent decrees, you know, and even investigations into police jurisdiction. Now, the thing is, and I know Brother Mike, being a veteran of law enforcement, maybe he might can answer how he feel on a personal level, take a step out of the hat of a police officer for so many years, and I know it's hard in a sense, but our community has so many issues dealing with police accountability. You know, Louisiana State Police was one of those jurisdictions that the Justice Department say they're not going to investigate no more. And you know, Brother Wiles, I've been involved with the Ronald Green case and the family, bringing them on the platforms in Lafayette for so many years.
Yes,
when
yeah.
I attended a Justice Department community feedback program, a couple of them that one was supposed to be in Lafayette that never materialized. And we kind of knew this where it was going. Now, the question is to all of you, how do you feel about that? And should, if we as citizens on the side of the road do not have any protection, and when Trump says, don't be so nice, he said that's his quote, and law enforcement does not have any accountability for those road officers that go over the line and get you in a situation where you either live or die, what protection does the ordinary citizen have other than saying, well, look, we got to protect ourselves as a human being if they don't have any constraints on them? So I know I'm going over the top on that, but it's happening every day in life. So I'm going to take y'all answer off air, and I really appreciate if you guys could answer that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Let me start by saying this, and then I'm going to let Mike say what he needs to say. I've said before, we need to have some type of internal affairs when it pertains to
Citizen Review Committee is called.
Yeah,
Oscar.
that's right.
With subpoena power.
That's right. That's what we need.
Yeah.
And until we get that, we got to demand that, y'all. We got to bring people together, because when it pertains to Louisiana State Police, look at all what's going on in Louisiana State Police right now, Wallace.
Yeah, well, we call it civil service.
You know?
And civil service is not made up but elected officials, police department, fire department, and things like this here. And it's a group of people that's not going to go against what they're all about.
Well,
that's why we need
a review,
a citizen review committee, that have backbones, to go and get the truth out of a certain situation.
Yeah, to be able to subpoena the courts and to be able to do what we need to do.
Mike?
What you feel, Mike?
No.
That ain't gonna happen?
Hate to burst your bubble.
Why?
So let me try to answer Brother Jay's question or his concerns. So yes, the Trump administration has given the law enforcement more power, and in my opinion, yes, it is. It will allow the law enforcement to.
The rogue officers.
Well, you say rogue, and that's unless you're talking about the incident that happened in Baton Rouge about 2 years ago with Murphy Paul under his administration. Those are the things that he tried to fight. Okay, but the system that was put in place in Baton Rouge, in my opinion, didn't allow Murphy to take care of those issues, because if you guys go back and listen to his statement that he made in front of the council, there was a lot of roadblocks. He tried to do things. But getting back to Brother Jay's concerns, yes, the Trump administration has given law enforcement, more teeth. Okay, and I've said this on this show before. The average citizen has power. Okay, they don't use it. You have what's called a city council. Okay, city council meeting. You go and you voice your concerns to the council, which in turn will then hopefully look at the mayor, and the mayor would then go to the chief and say, hey, if you're constantly fighting, or not really fighting, but bringing your concerns to the council. Now, I've said this before also, you can't go there yelling, screaming, throwing things around, or threatening people. No, this has to be done in a professional manner. It's just when, like I was saying, if your loved one or you get stopped by law enforcement, the first thing that you want to do is, you want to rant and rave. Keep it professional.
Yeah.
You can ask the questions, right? Because the first thing that they're going to say is, oh, well, I felt threatened, that I came into a hostile situation. You're done.
Yeah.
Because people will see, oh, yeah, it was hostile because, but yet what some people don't realize is that when you get stopped by an officer, that creates an atmosphere of nervousness and stressfulness.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So your body is going to react the way it's going to react. There's no way around it. I mean, this is just the way your body is. Some people start to sweat. Some people shake. Some people will twirl their hair.
Yeah.
Ladies. Some will take an ink pen and they'll click it back and forth. Your nerves, that nervous energy has to go somewhere. But you have to understand that you need to act as normal as possible to get the outcome that you deserve. So if you're going to get stopped by someone, keep it cool, keep it calm. Right. If you don't agree with what they said or did, then get through that situation, and then you can go down to the station and speak to someone in reference to how you felt that you were treated.
Let me tell you.
You also have a court date, and you could take it to the court. You can't hold court on the street.
No.
Because the officer is not a judge. He's not a jury, but he sure could make it hard on you when you do get to court.
Let me tell y'all both something. That's and we living in La La Land, because we got, even though sometimes we go to the city council and sometimes we go and we take the steps that needed to be taken, things still get swept under the rug.
Yeah.
Because of
Not
you know.
gonna disagree with
Listen,
that.
and that's what we gotta change that system, Wallace. We know that system is not for
Back
us.
up from that
and
mic.
It's not for us and our people, okay? Because how many young brothers then got killed, and still there's still no justice.
Yeah.
How many sisters got injured and there's no justice?
Well, let me say this. Let me. And I gotta quit saying that. Let me say this. I want to interject in what you're saying. When you when you go to the council and you voice your opinion, and the next week you go to the council, somebody else voice their opinion. So you're creating a pattern that the council may want to go, You know, if we
Let's
have
look at
people
this.
come in here every council meeting for the public comment,
Right.
and they have complaints, at some point, those complaints or those concerns will have to be addressed.
Sure.
Now, I'm not telling you that those when somebody goes to the police department and they file a complaint, that those complaints are not being addressed. I'm not telling you that. What I am telling you from 33 years of experience is, of course, you're upset. Of course, you're lit up because of you're getting stopped or you ask those questions and this and that. Nobody wants to be called crooked. Nobody wants to be called Uncle Tom. Nobody wants to be called, excuse my French, a cracker. Nobody wants to be called those racial slurs and be given a title, right, by you on the roadway. Because if I went to your job and did that, you would be ticked off as well. What I'm saying is that you need to keep it professional, and that way the documentation will show that you were not hostile.
Right.
You were not, you were not accusing anyone of being a crooked officer or so forth and so on. Now, let's go back to what you said, Wallace, about this board. I'm a firm believer that if you want to do a citizen review board, that the citizens on this board, they have to have some training.
Right.
They have to know policies and procedures for that department. Because if you put somebody on there and they don't understand why the officers do this, why they pull up like this, why they stand like this, why they speak like this, you have to understand this. You're talking about training that goes back, decades and decades. That training. Some people say, "Well, training needs to change." Okay, well, guess what? It takes time for the training to change. But you need to understand that you can't just put an average Joe on a board and say that everything you're doing is wrong.
And that's
You're
not
defeating the purpose.
That would be nonsense if you was to do a board like that.
Yeah.
Yes. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the Community Matters Show. Caller?
Yes, good morning, Brother Wallace, Brother Narcisse, and Brother Brown.
Good morning.
I just wanted to say that it's a really good program. I appreciate y'all taking y'all time to giving the community information that we need. I just wanted to make a comment, and not out of disrespecting anyone, but I know this coming weekend we have at the Black and Coliseum the granddaddy, the Creole
Zydeco Fest?
with Tucker, Keith Frank, Lil Nate, Gino Delafont, Shaver, Jeff Rito, and a few other more. But what I wanted to say is that I've interviewed the lady. I've interviewed the lady, and one of the main problems that they have is that people are coming to see that the men, they don't have women to either put into the show, and when the women themselves were some of the first women that helped launch Zydeco and everything. I'm somewhere outside. I hope you can still hear me.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
we can hear you.
Okay, and like your Rosie Lizette, your Donna Angel. God dog it, I'm trying to think. We have so many women that's out there
And they're
that
not.
have stood the stood the test of time. But Donna, Rosie, they all told, and several others told me personally, is that it's them that's not letting them join the show. You know, like being the headline. Like, why do we have that type of division when I love the women music just as much as I love the men music, but I'm missing something here, and maybe y'all could help me out. Why there's no connection with bringing in the Donna Angels, the Rosie Ledette, I can't even think of the other sister, the light-skinned sister.
We understand we understand where you're going with
I
this.
do understand, and I'm about to answer her.
With this, Sister Khadijah, and you know you are right. You know, it seems like women's are being pushed aside or not being recognized for the accomplishment that they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, and
It's unfair. It's unfair. It's unfair.
It seemed like the men that went ahead or is out front, they don't want the woman to come behind them and do the same thing that they doing. And it's unfair. I agree with you on that.
Let me tell you something. Let me address that right now while I got on the phone. Sister Khadijah, I want you to understand that you as a woman, and Donna is my cousin, and I done talked to Donna, and I'm just heartbroken because you know what? We got what's being happened. It's all about people being selfish. Okay, that's what it's selfish. All they're looking out for is money in their pocket. Okay, and it makes no sense. You got a lot of Donna has been in the music industry for a long time, and she's a very talented musician.
Especially when she want a man like Boo.
You know, she's very talented, and it's unfortunate. Rosie, who I also know personally, is a great musician, and they're shunning them. You know what? Y'all gave too many people power that shouldn't have power.
Well, let me ask you this question.
That's what happened.
So why aren't the male artists pushing this as well?
It's not the male artist. It's not just the male artist.
Yes,
Let me tell you something. It's not just the male artist. It's the promoter.
Well,
it's the promoter.
But you got to go back though, man. And I agree with Sister here.
It's the
man.
promoters.
I agree with her. You know, but why can't the artist say, well, you know, we have all men. Why can't we bring some women in? Why can't we diversify?
You think they
Why
think?
not?
You think they think like that? You think they think like that?
That's my
I
question.
got,
They're not thinking like that because of money.
I got a good solution for.
question.
I got a good solution for all that. Why don't we promote an all-woman concert?
Let's do it.
All singers concert.
Let's do it.
That's the way you do that.
Yeah, let's kill them.
You know.
But
And then not only that, but brother Oscar, you know, when I get a chance on the radio, I'm playing Donna.
Oh, yeah.
I'm playing Rosie. I'm giving a shout out, no matter
What? Oh, yeah.
and everything. But you're right. It is up to us to bring the women out the way that they should be.
If you, let me tell you something. Tucker, who I love, Tucker's like my son. I remember when his mama didn't want him to sing, you know, and we worked with him, you know, and you know I think a lot of time people forget where they come from. They forget the struggles that they had to endure because they're making money, and you know because I'm making money now I'm somebody else different. You got to know where you come from. And you got to open doors, but we got so many selfish people that I just don't like. You know, I've opened doors to a lot of DJs. I had a lot of DJs when I was out on the street. I had a lot of DJs that I opened up. I trained them. I gave them an opportunity to go and do shows and to provide for their family. You know, that's the way life got to be. You got to bless people.
But I still go back to my original. Why don't the male artists, you know, when they're doing
because
the show,
of money. Because of money and
hey, man,
selfishness.
listen, I understand, but what's right is right, what's fair is fair. So, you know, if you have these artists and they look at the lineup, that's a tight lineup. But wait a minute, why don't we have any females on here? Why don't we have any legends?
Let me tell you something.
show?
What I feel females need to do when they got a show that they don't have a woman, don't support them. Boycott them.
That's right.
Boycott them.
That's right.
Hey, you put a hurt on their pockets. They got it. Then they got to start hiring them women artists.
That ain't gonna happen.
Well, listen, ladies, I'm behind y'all 100%. Y'all want to form a boycott? I will help y'all form a boycott. Boycott these cats that don't have the women on this show. That's the way you hurt them in their pocket.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. And then not only that, I don't mind paying the $20 or $25 to go see the guys, but I want to be intrigued also.
All right.
With the women. You could have had it down.
Boycott them. Boycott them.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. That's
Okay.
and I personally spoke with the women.
Spring Swing.
I don't know if you remember.
Spring Swing had women's on their program. You know, Spring Swing.
Yeah.
They had women's on their program, even though they didn't get a chance to do it because of the rain and the weather and other issues that was going down. But they sure had women on their program.
And then when you look at their audience, you're going to have maybe about 95% women that's over there to support the men.
Well-
that's their hard-earned money. And you mean to tell me, as artists or as promoters, y'all don't have enough decency to say, oh well, let me put her down to Angel.
Yeah.
You know,
Sister
I want a
Khadijah?
man like you.
Sister-
Let me do this. They can't continue to deny that.
Sister Khadijah, in every means of disrespect when it becomes to us as people of color, when it becomes to us as females and males, until we come together and understand and stop playing with that foolishness and that nonsense, we're going to always have these issues. And the only way we can resolve these issues, if they don't want to understand, then sometimes we got to take a stand. And the way to take a stand is to hurt them in their pocket.
You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. And I'm going to talk it over with Brother Jay, Brother Oscar, Brother Walton, and Brother Brown. We could do something at AOC, a 2-hour segment highlighting the best lanyards, the best women artists in the world. And we got them right here in the state of Louisiana, right here.
I'm gonna try to get Donna Angel on Community Matter program because
I'll get
she's
on
celebrating 50 years.
I'll get on next week. We'll get on next week. I call her. I got her
Okay.
number. We'll call her and we'll get on. But Sister Khadijah, listen, we got a lot to deal with when it pertains to us as African American people, especially with this fool that we have in office, and a lot of us is bringing drama amongst us. Make that make sense. We fighting every way we fighting. We got so many monsters that we gotta kill. Make it make sense.
But
Okay.
Sister Khadijah, you know, we gonna take what you're saying to
And we gonna
heart.
mo- and we gonna
you
move
know,
on it.
and I feel like you feel. I feel women's are wisdom of the world.
Yeah.
You know, and why not promote women's? You know, I was a truck driver, you know, and I used to hear men talk about women's truck drivers. And I've always tried to help women's truck drivers
right.
because I appreciate them being out there. And they had some women's drove truck better than some men.
It's opening the doors for equality.
Equality, yeah. Equal opportunity.
So
And let me say this also. We all have a past, and nobody should be judgmental on anything.
No.
I've seen times when I'm playing music, and someone will call me, "Well, why are you playing her music?"
Yeah.
Excuse me, you don't know what she did, but I don't give a good God. I don't give a
yeah.
on what y'all think. Y'all know that she's done. She's still a damn good musician.
Let me tell you something.
Look all the preachers that's doing things, and you still go to church. So you know,
Wallace,
if you
Wallace.
don't want to listen to the music,
Wallace.
don't listen to it.
Wallace, you know what's so bad about us as black people? We always hold grudges.
Yeah.
We hold grudges, y'all. Stop holding grudge. That don't get you nowhere.
That make you old. Grudges make you old.
And to the promoters of what's going on this weekend, I would like to say that you should be ashamed of yourself for not including some of our best women artists around who at one time, they're the one that brought the other men there.
Well,
To
yeah.
do all.
Well,
It's a slap in the face.
we stand behind you 100%, Sister Khadijah. And I thank you for bringing that to us. We will be working on something to bring about changes when it pertains to our female Zydeco artists and our female R&B artists, because we got some good, like Cammy Cole. We got some good Lisa. We got some good ladies.
Okay.
That does things.
Okay, look. Everything that we talked about was very pleasant,
Yeah.
you know, but I need Mike to keep talking about this family day to take a family member to get health screened, you know, because right now my doctor called me up and asked me to take my blood pressure every day for a week, you know.
Yeah.
So that's
Let me say this. I'm gonna stop saying that.
you listening to Oscar.
Don't blame me.
I need to move seats, man. I need to move seats.
Don't blame me.
Well, one of the things that that concerns me is we are taking all these meds, correct? So I don't know if the doctors are looking at the list of medications that we are taking to find out if it's having some kind of counter effect on our bodies.
Yeah.
You know, like blood pressure medicine, and you taking, I don't know, something else that causes something else, and then you go to the doctor, they put you on something else. So I think by sitting down with someone and say, hey, can we just review my medication?
Yeah.
See if the medications
That's right.
that I'm taking, the combination of meds that I'm taking, is that interfering with my body in some kind of way that has me now on this medication? Okay?
Yeah.
I had a cousin that was taking blood pressure medicine, and he has gout. And he took something along with the medication for the gout and the blood pressure medicine, and he took, I think, like an Advil or something, and that had an adverse reaction on his body.
Yeah, because he became chemically unbalanced. And Mike, listen, Wallace, I have spoken to you many times on the doctors, a lot of them doctors giving people medication because they want that pharmaceutical money. Okay? Y'all have to get people to, you have to go see somebody that's going to understand and be able to bring the medicines that you,
Bring your
medication to that doctor, and that doctor will be able to tell you if this is good for you. Should you be taking this? Should you be taking that?
Well,
let me tell you something. My mother was on a lot of medicine. When I had her going to UMC, she was on a lot of medicine, and the doctor was giving her medicine. Now she goes see Dr. Labine, and guess what he did? Took all them bottles of medicines away from her and start prescribing vitamins. You see her reactions at 85 years old, Wallace.
Yeah.
Mike, you see her reactions every day at 85 years old.
And that's one of the things that I want to get back to talking about is bring your medication, let them look at it, and ask the question: the combination of meds that I'm taking, are these medicines causing adverse reactions, which creates this symptom over here? Now, look at all the medicine that they're advertising on television.
Yeah.
Look at all these side effects.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, am I better off not taking this medicine than going through all these side effects?
You know what a lot of people don't understand when it pertains to medication? Let me tell you what a lot of people don't understand. Mike, you're a younger man. Certain medicines will serve you a better purpose. I'm older. I can't take the same type of medications that you take.
Well, you probably can. Probably a different
A
dosage.
different dose.
Different dose. And that's something else.
And people got to understand that.
And that's one of the things that I want to work on, because this is a brainchild of mine for some time, that we need to find out what is actually going on with our bodies.
That's right.
We're finding out. I found out 2 weeks ago that I got a cousin. you know, that had a toothache, and next thing you know, found out she has leukemia. Okay. So she's going through some treatment right now, but had to wait until the symptoms manifested in her mouth, right?
For them to find out that she got leukemia.
Yes, to find out that it was actually, you know, caused by leukemia because of the white blood cells.
Yes, okay.
You know, but if we can get regular checkups, do regular blood work, you know, see someone, and I understand that it's a whole cost thing, and you know, I'm not naive to understand that some people can't afford it. Some people can't afford the medication that they're taking. But if we can get in and see a doctor and have this doctor look at our medication and find out that maybe, once again, you shouldn't be on this medication because this is what's causing these issues over here, and we can remedy this.
And we got to have some doctors that want to be doctors and care about people,
and not money.
And not money. I mean, that's
You got 3 minutes, Carl.
Yes, I want to agree with the previous caller that called in, and the comment that I had was, why don't they have women performing also at the Black Coliseum this weekend? Not one woman is on the roster.
Well, we go.
I'm not going
I'm
because
not going either.
it ain't no women there, but in the audience, you know, and
I'm not
Well, let me
supporting.
say this. I think that's a question. I don't know who's promoting it.
Well,
but
I'll call one of the promoters. I know who's promoting it, but it's too late to get any of the women's on. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, y'all. Ladies, if y'all feel offended, then my thing to y'all is to boycott it. Don't go to it.
well, let me say this.
What he said not go to it.
That's right.
bark out.
Boycott.
I'm not going to push that. Okay? I'm not going to push that. I'm not going to push that.
I think that's a good
Yeah.
thing to say.
Well,
Yeah,
it is
I'm-
the right
I'm-
thing to say.
Well, no.
Somebody just said that mostly all the women going to be there, so maybe that's where you get all your money from, the women.
Well,
Yeah. So I'm not going to say boycott it. All I will say, you know, we can't take the knee-jerk action today. I think going forward is where you need to talk to these promoters. So when you see a show coming and there aren't any women, most of these promotions that go out there, email addresses or whatever for contact or whatever, contact those promoters and said, hey, why don't you have any women? Because I'm pretty sure when they put it out, they're putting it out 2 or 3 months in advance. They can probably go back and try to add someone to that show. So don't take the knee-jerk reaction and say, I'm not going to go, I'm a boycott. No, from this point on, going forward, that's when you make that decision to contact those promoters and say, we demand to see a woman on your show.
well,
Caller, we appreciate your call. We got to
Take a
sign
break.
off and take this 5-minute break. You can call back on the next hour.
Thank you for
You know,
calling.
Yeah, and-
Continue to call, please.
yeah. So we'll do it in the next hour. You know, we're gonna come back and we're gonna have to restart this over again because Oscar just talks too much. You know, and
but-
I want Mike to really get this health thing that he got going because that's very important to us and to our listeners. You know, so Oscar, we're gonna handle it on the next hour. Hey, Paul always say that. Y'all come back now. Give us 5.